Attention Windows 8 smartphone users. I have someone with me who chose to buy a Windows 8 smartphone instead of an iPhone. Of course, the question is why? Well, stick around because I will have a nice conversation with Austin. All right, we are back. I'm here with Austin, the proud owner of a Nokia Windows 8 smartphone. I believe, Austin, is it the Nokia 920?
Yeah, it's the Lumia 920.
The Lumia 920, I know we got it right before last Christmas. And if I recall the conversation we had, Austin was debating between the iPhone or the Windows 8 smartphone. Of course, I thought Austin needed to see a doctor. But evidently, the Windows 8 smartphone works. I've actually played with it, and it's very dummies proof. For new users, I think it's actually pretty good. But Austin, fill me in. What made you decide to pick the Windows 8 smartphone, the Nokia Lumia 920 versus, say, the iPhone?
Well, really, it came down to three. It was the iPhone 5, the Galaxy S3, and the Nokia Lumia. Really, it came down to the iPhone and the Lumia because, I had the iPhone before, didn't mind, it was pretty good. I started looking up the stats and everything for it, and I got to play with the test phone before I actually bought it. And I tell you what, this thing is zippy. It's got a 1.5 gigahertz dual core processor in it, the Snapdragon, compared to the iPhone's, 1.3 dual core processor, which is, a little bit behind the times. It actually has higher definition than the Retina display that's on the iPhone 5 on the screen, and it is 4.5 inches, which compared to the iPhone screen, which is still relatively small among smartphones, really improves, the quality of when you're watching Netflix or YouTube or videos like that. So, and then I went to the price, and for a 32 gig iPhone 5, it was $300, and for this Lumia, it was only 50.
Okay, so price is certainly a factor when making
Oh,
a decision
definitely.
on a purchase. Yeah. Well, let me say this. I have played with the phone briefly. The one thing I like is the ability to customize the home screen, meaning you can
Yeah.
have either, yeah, you can have either live tiles or swipe to the left, I believe, and have your application menu list and just scroll up and down to the apps that you want, which I think is very user friendly. Now, I know there are many more features, but what are features that are really more specific to the Windows 8 phone, say, versus the iPhone?
Okay, well, Nokia especially actually came out with a couple apps that are released on the AT&T version, which is the 920, and the Verizon version, which is the Lumia 822. It's a slightly smaller version of the phone. One of them is they just changed the name of it to Here, but it was originally called City Lens.
Okay.
Uh, you hold up your camera wherever you're at in the middle of a street, and using your camera, it shows all the buildings around you, and a little radar appears for every single store or restaurant or anything that's around you. A little icon pops up, tells you how far away it is. I'm actually doing it right now. I click on it,
Cool.
and I have the choice. It shows me the address, how far away it is. I can immediately hit direction, and it'll pull up the free GPS app that Nokia also added and implemented into the City Lens, and it'll take you right there. It only took about 5 seconds for me to get directions after clicking on a location that I saw on that map.
Okay.
That's a pretty cool thing to have.
Yeah.
Free GPS with it.
Yeah.
For the I think usually for the other carriers, if you don't have that app with the phone, you have
Yeah.
to pay a monthly fee for that service.
Okay. Now, the one thing I like about my Android phone is plug and play. No special software. Plug it in, and I can drag and drop files or folders straight to my Android phone. Can you do the same thing with the Windows 8 phone?
Not quite. It's not, how I believe when you plug in an Android, you just open My Computer and it shows up as like one of
Yeah.
the drives.
Yeah.
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 Well, all I do is plug it in, open up Windows Media Player,
Okay.
and then I can drag and drop over to my sync list, hit sync, and it goes through. I don't need to download any special software for it. It gives you the option. It comes with special software that I think it's just called Windows Phone app
Okay.
for your computer. It's fine, but if you don't want to have to open that up every single time,
Yeah.
most Windows PCs, in fact, every Windows PC comes with Windows Media Player.
Right.
So not only can you manage your movies and your videos and stuff that you have on your computer with that, you can easily just drop it over, a couple inches to the right and have it on your Windows phone.
So you can drag and drop either music folders, videos, text even. I mean, like it's that simple?
Yeah, I can do text documents. The phone actually comes with Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Microsoft Excel on there, so it's
Okay.
able to not only uh, create those documents, but it has the ability to have them dragged and dropped from your work or personal computer right onto there.
Okay.
You can do the same thing with videos. You can do the same things with voice notes that you make, even podcasts. Maybe I'll put this one on there.
Okay.
Uh, it's really easy. It's really quick. It's a really nice user experience.
Well, let me ask you this. How functional or how cool are the live tiles?
They're pretty functional and they're pretty cool too. The one that looks nice and it's nice to have your phone constantly updating is your people section.
Okay.
Uh, Not only can you add pictures of the contacts that you have, but you can link it with your social media. So you can put your Twitter on there and you can put your Facebook people on there. Uh, and then you can open it up and immediately you hit this people tile, and the first page that comes up is your regular contacts, which are all of your Facebook contacts, every person that you have. You
Okay.
swipe to the right and it gives you your Facebook feed and your Twitter feed.
Okay.
Swipe to the right one more time and it shows you the people that you've most recently contacted.
Okay.
uh, and the tile for this, if and you can choose how large it is, constantly updates and flips through pictures on your friends. It shows like 12 at a time, and they're constantly flipping through, which is a cool experience that your phone doesn't always look the same every time you open it.
Right, right. Well, let me ask you this. The live tiles sound very cool, but is it, am I correct to speculate that the more live tiles you have, the more battery life it drains, or not necessarily so?
I haven't noticed a difference. I've
Okay.
tried it. I had all the tiles minimized so that they weren't live tiles, and
Okay.
I've had it so that all the live tiles I can possibly have are always up.
Okay.
Currently, I've got a live tile for my contacts, a
Okay.
live tile for my weather, the weather channel. I have one for my battery display, the Xbox app that comes with it,
Okay.
my music, and for photos. And I consistently get like 10, 12 hours of solid use out of it.
Okay. That's not bad. Okay. What about talk time? Have you measured talk time? Is it like 3 hours, 4 hours, anywhere in the ballpark, or?
I haven't measured it myself.
Okay.
I haven't talked on a lot. A lot of the things I've researched, I've seen people have got anywhere from 4 or 5 hours to talk, all the way to reported up to 8.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. You know that the announcement for the Galaxy S4 was announced just a
Mhm.
few nights ago, and I think it's probably coming out what, May or June. So if somebody was
Said second quarter, so
okay, um, and I think it's going to retail here in the States for $200, right?
yeah, that's
Okay.
what I heard.
So the question is, if somebody had to decide between the Galaxy S4 or a Windows 8 phone, why should they pick, or why should they even consider, not necessarily pick a Windows 8 smartphone over the S4?
You're putting it up against the S4. That's not very fair, Carm.
Okay, what if it was the next generation Windows 8
The
phone that
next
does
generation.
everything the S4 does? How does that
Absolutely.
sound?
Well,
Okay,
I mean, all of the Windows phones currently have the dual core processor, and
okay,
for those who haven't heard about the S4, the United States version is going to have a quad core processor, just like
true.
the Note 2. So that
It's
thing is
not a fair comparison, I know.
is super fair. However, if there was, and in the future there obviously will be,
Yeah,
a Windows phone that has the same processor speed,
right.
really the main difference you're looking at is how you want to use your phone.
Okay,
Android is both of them are highly customizable,
okay,
which I think is their biggest advantage over the iPhone that has pretty limited customability on that operating system.
okay,
Where I think the Windows Phone triumphs over Android, though there are several deficits as well. Android has a much larger app store. They've been around longer.
yeah.
But where I think the Windows Phone triumphs really is its implementation of social media.
Ah,
It is so easy to get to all of anything that's trying to contact you. You can have your texts, emails, tweets, Facebook messages, notifications. You can use other social media such as like Foursquare, LinkedIn, and stuff like that. And at a click of one button, I can see everything that I have immediately instead of having to go to every single one of those apps individually.
Okay.
Their implementation of that is fantastic.
Nice.
Uh, and really, where the Lumia has an advantage, and why I think the Lumia series will continue to be really strong, is the camera that's on this thing.
Yeah.
It has a Carl Zeiss lens, which is very, very high quality, and it's 8.7 megapixels on the back.
Okay.
Like most of the smartphones, it can record 720 or 1080p. But the cool thing about it is it has what's called optical image stabilization. The camera, instead of just being set in the phone, which they normally are on smartphones, which results in a shakier image because your hand is shaking,
Yeah.
the camera is actually suspended inside of the lens,
Hmm.
which allows it to compensate for slight movements that you make. Now, you can't shake it around, obviously, and have
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
the same, but there's a video on YouTube you can look up that they strapped this phone to the front of a Jeep and then ran that Jeep through the desert over hills and everything. And the image is mesmerizing. It looks absolutely fantastic.
Hmm.
So people out there that really like to film, and I found some fantastic editing apps that are on here too.
Okay.
This really is going to be I think the wave of the future with how they've
Okay.
done this. And this is a fantastic start for the Nokia coming into the
Okay.
phone industry.
You know, it sounds like a lot of cool features. One last thing before we wrap this up. All right,
Okay.
it is a Windows phone. So the question is it relatively bug-free and is it stable?
I have had limited problems.
Okay.
Uh, Obviously they come out with updates to fix the things they found.
Okay.
It's happened to me 3 times, and that's all. Randomly in the middle of the night, the phone it can shut off and come up on the loading screen,
Okay.
and all I have to do is a soft reset. You just hit the
Yeah.
lock button, power down,
Okay.
and it immediately fixes it, and it goes for about 2 more months before it does it again.
Okay.
Uh, I'm not sure if, that's something that's individual to my phone, manufacturer defect, or if it's a bug that they're working on with the operating system.
Could it
But
be a corrupted app, maybe?
possibly,
Okay.
it didn't do it, when I first got the phone, so it's possible.
Okay.
It seems like all of them are wrong, but it's worth checking into.
So overall, you are pretty satisfied with your purchase.
Uh, I'm thrilled. It's more phones have continued to come out, and still find myself very happy with the choice I made.
Cool.
Uh, I'm glad that I have a phone that I can see and that I have the
Yeah.
room to text on. Really.
Okay. Well, folks, that's it. If you are considering buying at least a Nokia Lumia 920, you may want to consider that. And like Austin said, it wasn't really a fair comparison to the S4. Maybe we could compare it maybe to the S3 that's still out for sale. Maybe, I don't know. Um, of course, the price is right for the Nokia. If you want something new and maybe not that as sophisticated as a Galaxy phone, this may be something to consider. The apps aren't quite as in abundance as, say, an iPhone or an Android phone, but maybe you don't need all of those apps. I know I don't, and I don't think Austin does, because I think he has very specific apps that you use, and that's all you need, right?
Yeah, that's how I do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, folks, that's it. That wraps up this TosCasts podcast about the Windows 8 smartphone. Now, I don't know what the future holds for Windows 8 smartphone, but it sounds like Microsoft, at least with Windows 8 on a smartphone, this particular smartphone, I think they got it right. So, Austin, thank you so much for your time, and maybe we will do this again. Maybe 3 months from now, we'll do another one and see how your Windows 8 phone is holding up.
All right.
Okay, no, that was not a joke. I really meant that to be sincere. Folks, thank you for joining in and listen to this, and we will catch all of you sometime in the future. Ciao.